coming up in 1 hour. It's mini Ice Age conversations with David Dubyne and Ransom Godwyn. That's right. So, in the meantime, I'm going to play a little bit of music. Keep you going. Yes. What's up?
okay, 'cause so are you. Broke ears, Sunday morning is every day for all I care. And I'm not scared, light my candles in our days, 'cause I found God. Yeah!
It's Throwback Thursday. Thirsty Thursday style. Dubyne coming up next. Mini Ice Age Conversations Rec. Godwyn. It's the Independent Broadcast Network. We're over here on YouTube only. Mr. Rowe is working it out over there. All right.
It's good. Yeah, yeah. I'm so happy, 'cause today I found my friends in my head. I'm so ugly, that's okay, 'cause so are you. Broke our ears, Sunday mornings every day I will light the match this morning, so I won't be alone. Watch as she lies silent, for soon that will be gone. Oh, I will stand arms outstretched, pretend I'm free to roam. Oh, I will make my way through one more day. Difference does it make? How much difference does it make? Till it burns up my arm. Oh, I'll keep taking punches until their will grows tired. Oh, I won't stare the sun down until my eyes go blind. I won't change direction, and I won't change my mind. does it make? How much difference does it make? I'll swallow poison until I grow immune. I will scream my lungs out till it fills this room. How much difference? How much difference? This is everybody. How much difference does it make? Evil man made me kill you. Evil man made me kill you. Evil man made me kill you. Even though we're only families apart. Well, I pick up my axe and if I fight like a farmer, you know what I mean? Yeah, ain't no bullets thing I've been me down now. Yeah, I pick up my axe and fight like a farmer now. Yeah, but we still blast it down to the ground. sense that it's flashing me through the night. And it means I said that I might be around. I'm cruising up slow, about 2 feet off the ground. I'm gonna live it up. Oh no, I don't wanna give it up.
is the Independent Broadcast Network. My name's Jimmy. Stay tuned. Many Ice Age conversations coming up.
Got the devil in my bloodstream and I'm so high, but it just won't go away. Too much stress, my hands keep shaking, death knocking on my chest. Can't let it rest, flashing lights down the road. Feel like there's nothing here left that can save my soul. Hope they playing my songs when I'm dead and I'm gone, cause I don't know if I'ma make it home. So now I'm just driving around the city with my head down low. See trouble up ahead and two ways to go. Wanna bring tears to my baby's eyes, and do you hear them angels cry, singing, you are not alone, you are not alone, you are not alone, say you are not alone. Hey, can anybody hear me? Is anybody out there? Can anybody hear me? Is anybody out there? So she could make her old excuses sound new. But I just want one clue. Cause when the city drops into the night, before the darkness there's one moment of light, then everything seems clear. The other side, it seems so near. What seemed wrong, I think it's gonna be just about right. Before the city drops, into the night. ambitious little girls stop. They start to dream about a change in style. It's when the slick boys got their fingers. They got their fingers in a telephone dial. But I think I'll just wait a while. 'Cause when the city drops into the night, before the darkness is one moment of light, that's when everything seems clear. The other side, it seems so near. What seems wrong? I think it's gonna be right. Before the city drops, the city.
I've never known a girl like you before. Now just like in a song from days of yore, here you come a knocking, knocking on my door. And I've never met a girl like you before. Give me just a taste, so I want more. Now my hands are bleeding and my knees are raw. 'Cause now you got me crawling, crawling on the floor. And I've never known a girl like you before. Made me acknowledge the devil in me. I hope to God I'm talking metaphorically. Hope that I'm talking allegorically. Know that I'm talking about the way I feel. And I've never known a girl like you before.
The faces all around me, they don't smile, they just crack. Waiting for our ship to come, but our ship's not coming back. We do our time like pennies in a jar. What are we saving for? What are we saving for? There's a smell of stale fear that is reeking from our skins. The drinking never stops because the drinks absolve our sins. We sit and grow our roots into the floor. What are we waiting for? What are we waiting for? So give me something to believe, 'cause I am living just my fear that I am just nothing. That's just what I've become. What am I waiting for? It's already done. So give me something to believe, 'cause I am living just to breathe, and I need something more to keep on breathing for. So give me something to believe.
This is the Independent Broadcast Network. My name's Jimmy. Stay tuned. Coming up next, Mini Ice Age conversations with David Dubyne and Ransom Godwyn. It's the Independent Broadcast Network. Tune in, turn on, and find out.
Goes into the sand. The ocean looks like 1,000 diamonds strewn across a blue blanket. I lean against the wind, pretend that I am weightless, and in this moment I am happy, happy. I wish you were here. I wish you were here. I wish you were here. I wish you I lay my head onto the sand. The sky resembles a backlit canopy with holes punched in it. I'm counting UFOs. I signal them with my ladder, and in this moment I am happy, happy. I wish you were here. I wish you were here. I wish you were here. Wish you were The world's a roller coaster, and I am not trapped in. Maybe I should hold with care, but my hands are busy in the air saying, I wish you were here. I wish you were.
Never return. How many of you would like to come with us? Right now.
Strange shapes light up the night. Never seen one, though I hope I might. Don't ask if they are real. The men in black, their lips are sealed. Fantasy fills my mind to leave this place before my time. Release myself from earthly care. My dream may be your nightmare. I'll turn my hopes up to the sky. I'd like to know before I die. wish I may, I wish I might. I turn my hopes up to the sky. I'd like to know before I die. Memories will slowly fade. I lift my eyes and say, come on, take me away. Come on, take me away.
I'll give it
coming up in just a few minutes. Mini Ice Age conversation.
And a feather. Give me 3 reasons why we're together. I push my body through the floor like, 'cause I fuck with myself more than anybody else. You're in the corner waiting for my love. I put 2 walls behind you just to lean on. You kinda need 'em 'cause I stood you up. I fuck with myself more than anybody else. 'Cause I fuck with myself more than anybody else. It's all love. I used to care what you think about me. It's all love. 'Cause my love's so good. So I fuck with myself more than anybody else. I got you fishing through the water. Our relationship is underwater. You're facing ages in the 3rd strike. 'Cause I fuck with myself more than anybody else. 'Cause I fuck with myself more than anybody else. It's all love. I used to care what what you think about me. It's all love. 'Cause my love's so good. So I fuck with myself more than anybody else. I used to have a nickel for what you'd say. Baby, your words would burn me.
All right, stand by. We're about to join David Dubyne in progress on Revolution Radio. Here we go. Let's get this shirt.
By combining historical, climate, food, and economic data so you can make informed decisions as we shift into a new era. Here's what was, this is what's coming. Our world is never going back to 2019, so what will the new era look like? And most importantly, what is immediate that will affect the pocketbook and the outlook into next year so we can all get ready? Thank you for joining. I'm your host, David Dubyne.
Right along here with Ransom Godwyn tonight. Good evening. Thank you for spending your valuable time with us as we discuss important issues, and you might be the very one out there that can connect that last dot that gives us the fullest picture. So please feel free to throw your comments in the live chat as we're going through. We're going to try to respond to some of the comments. Also, you'll be able to interact with those watching us on Rumble, on the Mini Ice Age Conversations podcast, YouTube channel, Twitter, and quite a few others with the Adapt 2030 and Mountain High Time 420 stamps on those. We're coming into a time now of extreme cold is following. Major cold trend set to unleash frost freeze threat across the U.S. So, oh, thanks for telling me. Yeah, sometimes if I get a update, sometimes they do the update, like when they reset everything for you, and then it pulls me off and takes me on to the system microphone.
Ransom, how's that sound? A little better? Give it a thumbs up. Yeah. So this major cold freeze coming in, it is going to be an anomalous blip. So if you're going to plant your gardens and you're putting out your winter garden or fall garden, you might want to hold off a week or so until this frost freeze being unleashed across the U.S. is over with. Because if you're going to put out supple lettuces right now, it's going to get below freezing. It's going to get down like 30 degrees here this week.
Yes.
Some places like 28 Fahrenheit. If you're up in like West Virginia, north of that, it's going to be below 28 degrees Fahrenheit. Like the different kales and spinaches and lettuces, these like cool weather, but they don't like completely frozen. You're going to have to use rope off on top of your crops if they're already out. They walk until they're blue in the face about the heat. Super El Nino in the summer. It was one, bevy of news articles for a full month, the hottest month in July. But here we are, not even at the end of September, just barely creeping into October, and we're going to be at 28, 27 degrees Fahrenheit in the evenings. That's a crop killer, and whatever was maturing in the fields and everybody's gardens are gone. Unless you cover them, or it's the very hardiest of crops like turnips or potatoes or sweet potatoes or something. The leaves will die off above the surface, but then those potatoes are safe underground. Whatever tuber you're growing is safe underground. But still, these are the things to think about moving forward here. Yeah, there's the politics happening. And I think, I'm going to ask Ransom to respond to this because I think that there's this massive amount of energy coming through our solar system at this moment. At the same time, we're getting these massive distractions from the Trump, unwinding of companies to the government shutdown to the impeachment hearings, all happening right this second as we'd enter into the deepest of the quake window. Begins on the 29th. And hopefully, Ransom, I sent you some slides. You can put those up into the viewer of looking geocentrically, like from our Earth, where is the sun and where are those gas giants? And we're sitting right in the middle of this pincer point. So that's what I'm saying. We're going to talk about tonight. The quake window is now open from the 29th of September through the 16th of October. So if we see any large earthquakes or volcanic eruptions outside the norms, That's because of the electromagnetism that's now turned on in our solar system, which will be at maximum intensity October of 2024, actually October 23rd, 2024. So, Ransom, I know I babble sometimes when we start the show. Thank you, everybody, joining Bigfoot for President 2024. Ransom, the floor is yours, man.
I would totally vote for Bigfoot for president. Is that a serious thing? No, I'm kidding. No, I put that up there. And somewhere in my list of articles, I was just reading about scientists being worried in an uptick in volcanic activity and seismic activity around Mount Vesuvius. And, you know, we've been seeing eruptions all over the place. So earthquakes, volcanoes, you know, it's so funny to me because I know as a citizen of the world that it's my fault because of my carbon footprint if a volcano, you know, decides to spew more carbon dioxide than all of mankind in one burp, because that's happened before. Just kidding. I don't really feel bad. No, you know, I hope that when we send the notes out, I put a mathematical formula in there. I'm going to put it in the chat. I was talking about it last week. That has to do with the number of trees per country versus the CO2 emissions estimate. I want to make that clear that they don't know how much anybody actually emits. They have estimates. So that's one of those words like might, maybe, but we know the science could be, you know, in that realm. However, there is a simple math formula that I came across that has to do with the amount of sequestering, if I could say that way, sequestering CO2 per tree per year per tree's lifetime, etc. So I looked into that and I started doing some basic math, and let me find it. And it will blow you away because it just puts the propaganda of CO2 just kind of in an anecdotal, comedic point in relevance. Okay, so here it is. I found it. How much carbon is sequestered by a tree? A single mature tree will sequester about 48 pounds. That's 0.006 metric tons of carbon dioxide per year, and store about 100 pounds. That's 0.045 metric tons over its lifetime. Now, it took me a while to compile the number of trees in North America because they break them down by countries. But I eventually did it, and I came to about around 675 billion trees in North America. So this means that these trees will sequester about 4.5 billion metric tons each year. And this is not counting any other plants. So keep that in mind. This isn't counting grass or vines or, you know, anything else. No other kind of plant form or other forms of carbon dioxide sequestering. So that doesn't include that. So like I said, there is 675 billion trees in North America, and they sequester about 4.5 billion metric tons each year of carbon dioxide. Now, according to the global warming nuts and the climate hysteria people, the weirdos, basically, because when look, and I'm not even that smart, and I'm not even that good at math, but this was a simple formula. So the U.S. by itself is supposed to put out a certain amount. So I added up Mexico, Canada, and the United States, and even with their estimate, we put out 4.8 billion metric tons of carbon dioxide each year. So I don't know if you noticed the parallel there, but the trees are sucking in the equivalent amount of carbon dioxide each year. And then on top of that, like I said, that's not even counting any of the other forms of carbon dioxide sequestering. And then, you know, I'm sitting here looking at these graphs that go back in the climatological history of Earth. And I see that we're like almost the coldest and the least amount of carbon dioxide ever on this planet. So that means all the other times that your fantasy takes you to with dinosaurs and giant forests and big bugs and all of these other things. All of that happened when there was, I don't know how many times more, like a bunch of, I forgot the number. I think it's about 10 times
7,000
at
parts
least.
per million. I got your answer. 7,000 parts per million. Today we sit
Awesome.
around 400.
Right. So think about the difference there. So that 7,000 parts per million represents exploding diverse life on Earth with lots of plants, all kinds of species we'll never see again. And then they're comparing that to now, where they're trying to convince you that the planet is now burning up and you're going to die because you eat meat, because the cows fart. They don't, and this is funny for all you people out there that are familiar with North American history. There were billions of bison running the North American plains. They were pooping everywhere. They were farting. They were eating up grass. So they were even eating all the extra grass that would be sequestering that carbon dioxide. They were eating it up. You fast forward to today, and they're trying to convince you that the cows that we eat are producing so much gases that we're all going to die because we eat that meat. So this is the nonsensical, tyrannical 1984 misinformation. That's what it is. And that's why they're so hard on about distracting and misinforming you and telling you that everybody's misinforming you. It's because they're doing it. It's a big projection from the elite about misinformation.
Bigfoot for president 2024. You heard it here first. But I'd like to respond to a couple of those comments with a few programs that are ongoing right now. And just so everybody can get an idea, currently in the world, there are about 1 billion cows totally across the whole planet. And then if you look in, there's approximately 700 million chickens across the planet. You know, pigs, I would have to get your number, but I would imagine it's somewhere around 300 million pigs. So the amount of cows is actually equivalent or even less than when they were wildly running in these packs. You know, they talked about that some of these herds across the Midwestern plains in total would be like 100 million bison moving during a season between what we know now as just a few states. Can you imagine that? That, you know, you saw the same thing, and probably, you know, you ever watch those adventure movies from the 1930s? YouTube has a huge collection of like 1930s Africa safari, like real documentaries. The amount of animals is staggering how many there are, like millions of zebras moving across the plains, like millions. And wildebeest also, millions of wildebeest. Nothing like that today. There's hardly anything left when you see these images, you know. So taking into consideration the wildlife, real in the wilds wildlife, with the amount of bodies that was. And those have all been reduced already from overpopulation, illegal hunting, whatever, just land encroachment, building cities where, you know, zebras or, you know, something would roam, lions, doesn't matter, elephant, everything you see, the jaguars, everything you look at, the habitat's shrinking. Now they're just in parks across South Africa, in Zimbabwe, Botswana, and Namibia. Like those giant animals, they're relegated to just parks where nobody can really poach them, and just their internet. The amount of wild animals is just staggering how many have been lost just since the 1930s. Yeah, that's been 100 years. But to then blame a billion cows, which is kind of the equilibrium point of the amount of either bison, cattle, buffalo, or whatever it is across the planet remains pretty much the same. Yet all those external wild animals have completely disappeared. So you'd think there have to be some offset from that, right? And then also, if I could say one thing about the carbon sequestration credits. You know, to your point, each tree can be measured on how much carbon it sequesters through a year. Now, you can do an average. Now, each tree species is going to be slightly different. So what they were, at least the way I was understanding it is, if you pledged your land to the carbon offset credit system, you had to be 200 acres minimum. And you had to pledge that you wouldn't log it for 20 years. I mean, you occasionally if something to fall down, that's okay because that's natural fall, but you wouldn't go in and cut it. And what they would do is they would run some satellites over and use LiDAR to measure the average tree species density per acre and then come out with that magic number. So if an ash tree has this much, or a gum tree has this much, or an oak tree has this much, or a walnut tree, or a hazelnut, or maple leaf, whatever it is, they'll measure that and give an average over that. Okay, it's 25% maple, 25% ash, 25% pine, and then, you know, whatever else it is. And then there's some grassland there with a bunch of elderberry bushes. And they'll average all that out into how much carbon sequestered per acre. And then they pay that back to, you know, then you can put that on a carbon market. So let's say it is like, you know, 5 tons per year per acre. You know, the average prices that they're looking for is going to be somewhere around $200 US equivalent of now, not hyper, but of per ton. So they were looking for some equilibrium at $200 US per ton. So you have to think about it. If you're getting 5, that's $1,000 per year per acre, and you're holding 200 acres, just you're never going to develop it, and you're getting $200,000 a year just to have that land. You know, only people with a lot of money already have 200, 500, 10,000 acres. That's not, you know, me or my neighbors. You know, we got 20 acres out here, 30, 50. Some of the old timers here, the old family lands, you know, 100, 200 acres, 150. But, you know, getting up to 200 acres, Amish have 500. You know, and they bought that way back in the 1980s. So to get these large tracts of land, either your old money, and when I say that, I mean old families from the original settlers from wherever you were. So down here in East Tennessee, it was, you know, in the early 1800s, and there's no land patents here in Tennessee either, if anybody's wondering. That's not a thing here. It is out in Texas and other places you can chase that down, but here it's a no-go. You know, I think 200 years ago, families in here getting 2,000 acres for like $1 an acre, something like that. So think about the big mo. What if you had 1,000 acres and you're getting $1,000 per year per acre just to leave it alone, not develop it, and leave it as a forest? That's $1 million a year. Can you imagine that? Every single year for the next 20 years, as long as you have the land to pledge. So it's just it's a way just to launder money, in my opinion. You can't put that value on the forest. And Bill Gates wants to cut down 70 million acres and bury them underground, because his whole philosophy is those forests grew up. They sequestered all that CO2 in their tree trunks, and all that carbon's captured in the branches and the leaves and the trunk and the roots. But if that collapses and those trees fall down and they die and then they just naturally rot in the forest, all that carbon's re-released back in the atmosphere. So they wanted to cut 70 million acres of trees and bury all the logs underground to stop the CO2 coming off those logs as they decompose in the forest. Can you believe that? What kind of insanity is that? And Ransom, you were just talking to the opposite. I'd swear we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, because I know I did this for Mike Adams when we had our interview on Friday a couple of weeks back. This, you know, wood sequestration or underground wood storage is kind of crazy stuff too, right along with the carbon credits for the forest that don't do anything except rich people keeping their land, pledging it to the system. It's almost like the good old boys, scratch your back, I'll scratch mine. You know, hey, we'll keep this off, we won't develop, we can play the game. But your minimum input is 200 acres, so good luck finding that if anybody out there has it.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to have much acres for very long. It seems like, you know, all the news is nobody can afford to buy new land as it is right now, or at least a lot of Americans can't do that. And they keep pushing this idea along with these other crazy ideas, like you were talking about burying. Why wouldn't they use the wood? Isn't it sequestered if it's used? To bury it. And then think about all of the equipment it takes to knock down all the trees and then, you know, bury them in a big old empty field. When they know.
Oh, wait. Then you have to use a polymer liner, which is produced in a factory to line the pits so none of the CO2 can escape through the ground.
I know.
Yeah, right. That's a scam. That's what I'm saying. It's such the biggest scam.
It would make more sense to just let the tree grow its lifetime and sequester that amount of CO2 if that's actually what they were going to do. But that's not what they're really wanting to do. And actually now, we're talking about a lot of distractions, but it's really weird that they kind of tell the truth in a real way. You just have to pay attention to what they're pushing and how often they push it and how many articles are kind of connected. So this is one right here. Can't afford California? Try living in a tiny sleeping pod, all 4 feet of it. More tiny homes. And as you know, a lot of places that were burnt by wildfires got rezoned to where they can, have, instead of single family homes, now they can have tiny homes. But it seems like all aspects of economies in the Western Hemisphere are moving towards a lower population. Now, I don't know if you saw the conspiracy theory on the internet about a Deagle.com article. I sent you a screenshot of the article before they took it down off the internet. But in it, it was talking about the year 2025 and the amount of population reduction by country. Now, I don't know if they were just yanking people's chains. They did it intentionally to start a conspiracy theory, or it's just one of those boo-boos. Like they weren't ready to put out that kind of information in article form. However, it got on the internet. It did long enough for people to see it. And, in there, it was talking about countries like the UK and the United States getting their populations reduced by about 20%.
And Ransom, also, may I ask, the GDP also, did you notice this? The down shrinking of the GDP reflected the down shrinking of population?
Yeah. So that's exactly where I was going to go. What they're talking about is closing down human behavior and business and all aspects that go along with having a thriving populace in a civilization with money that is valuable. So simultaneously, the money is being devalued beyond belief. They're pushing these ideas of basically little villages outside of their mega cities. I mean, if you're going to live somewhere, you can't just have a bunch of land where you farm and grow stuff. And that's why they're attacking all of these different things at the same time. And then when you go through the headlines, you just see, and here's a picture of that for everybody. This is what they're talking about. And they've already opened up homeless shelters and different things like that. And if you don't think that a civilization can convert over to this style of living, you're wrong. Take a look at Japan. They literally have places like this where you can rent for the night. They even have some really cool ones that are revolving pods. But all of this involves you having a universal basic income or some kind of employment to pay for these per night, because this is the ultimate in metered systems. You get a 4x4 little spot. They've tried this in different places. It never works. There's no privacy. It reduces down to, bad things happening in the night. You need your privacy. That's why we have private property. And that's why we were always set up where people could own property and have privacy and have their person, papers, and their belongings secure within them, protected by an inalienable right that their government wouldn't come and just rifle through it. Or go through it or know what's happening or steal from them or anything else. But just like other amendments to our Constitution, I would argue that the Third Amendment, which says that no soldier could be quartered in our homes, is also being violated through internet spying. If someone's in your home listening to your conversation around the dinner table, if there's mics and cameras all throughout your living area and space that can be accessed by third parties and the companies that created the devices themselves, and then they share that information and roundaboutly, legally, the government builds these metadata profiles and personality profiles, just like a profiler does. And then they're talking about why don't we build new cities? Well, because we're trying to reduce the amount of cities and areas that people could live in and families in the Western Hemisphere. If you want to look to where they're building new cities, it's not here. It's in the Yucatan. They're building high-speed rails. They're cutting the jungle up, making new neighborhoods and areas and they say they're doing it for the local Mayan people. Although I have my doubts about that because they're designing them in the same way that was planned for Lahaina in Hawaii, which are these smart cities that are completely closed off, 15-minute cities. Everything that you need or want would be in there. And then, if anything, God forbid, should happen, the authorities may tell you to just stay put, shelter in place. That doesn't work out. But then on with my point here, homes unaffordable in 99% of the nation for average Americans. Biden to offer smallest ever offshore oil rights. In other words, they spout a lot of green energy stuff, but as far as it goes for the industrial complex, they're going to keep on burning that fossil fuel. People are taking their kids out of school because there's no faith left in the educational system. Dad's homeschooling children skyrockets in the last couple of years. People are taking that, and that I think is a really good headline, unlike some of the other ones we see. Southern California city becomes the first in the nation to recognize legal rights of non-human animals. Now that sounds great, and it really does.
That sounds like a chimera.
It really, well, you can go there too, but that's not even where I was going to go. That's funny. You went there. Recognize the legal rights of non-human animals. Now, you could say that means all kinds of stuff, like you said, a chimera or whatever. But I was thinking more along the lines of the ending of people being able to eat meat. And when this becomes more of a popular thing and they start spreading this and recognizing the legal rights of non-human animals, which I do think that there is some degree of rights that animals should have, not to be treated cruelly or misused. But there, as well as I do, there's groups all over the world that want us to stop eating meat. They want us to eat the bugs, and they're going to introduce these ideas into the ether of civilization to try to guilt you all the way down to not eating meat or not using animal products because they will say it's slavery or this or that because of the legal rights. So although this sounds great, in the idea of, treating animals right, I guarantee you that that's where this is going to go in the future, is where they're mandating different rules on foods that you can eat based on the animal. Because, how far do we go down the line? And like I said, I do agree in basic rights of non-cruelty to animals, to only use them according to the way that we should. There's even several religions that talk about this, how you shouldn't, treat your animals inhumanely. It's the food that you eat. You need to treat it good. You need to give it love. You need to let it have a happy life until it's time to eat it. And everybody remembers the vegan not too long ago that died, and she looked really healthy. And she ate a lot of healthy stuff. I even looked into her little story there. And I mean, she ate some really good superfoods, all kinds of good vegetables, lentils, beans, all kinds of stuff. But guess what? You will die of starvation if you don't have animal fats and proteins, period. That's like the more that they try to push this idea, the more people are going to die and be sick of malnutrition. Because we need that. So that's where I think it's going to go. And to swing it all back around, I think the world's about to have a series of major disasters. Not like that's a new thing for humans, but what's new about it is the elite and these groups trying to put every natural disaster, like I said before, it must be my carbon footprint that is raising the fears of a rise of volcanic eruption near Naples after they had their strongest earthquake in 40 years. Evacuation plans are being drafted after activity on Campi Flegrei, I can't say it, which experts warned earlier in 2023 was in a dangerous state because they think there may be a major volcanic eruption there. And here's an article from the Daily Mail. Is Seattle set for a megaquake? Scientists find two fault lines that are capable of releasing 7.8 magnitude earthquakes that could kill an estimated 1,600 people and destroy over 10,000 buildings. Now, we all know about the areas that go up and down the West Coast. And for some reason, I've always had an instinctual feeling. I've even had dreams about that area. Is that I think it's the Cascadian subduction zone, I believe. That's right off the coast of Seattle and Portland. That would be the major knockout punch to the West Coast. I know everybody thinks it's probably going to be on the San Andreas, which is still possible, or even around San Francisco, which is very possible too. But those are mainly earthquakes that knock stuff down, and you get liquefaction in the southern areas of California. But up in the top, in the Cascadian subduction zone, is where I think the biggest threat is, because it would wipe out the entire West Coast. It possibly even Hawaii, Japan, other places would get massive tsunamis if some kind of major event happened there. And, that's my little attempt to kind of connect it to what you were talking about. And I'll put that picture back up of the planets charging up their magnetic fields. And what date is this here? Is this for today?
That was from yesterday and the day before. The actual field, so that 27 is the 27th of 09 is September. So it's 27 September 2023. Now the field, like those planets looking blue or with the purple around them, when that glows, those fields are interconnecting. But I like to use this map here because it gives you that geocentric view, like from the Earth, where's the sun and where are the planets? Like September 9th, 10th through the 12th was actually where the beginning of the Earth moving through the center of that field is. Now, this is going to square up into a perfect square coming up in about a year and a month from now. But I would expect, because we're moving through the center of this magnetic field that's restructuring itself, a huge amount of things are going to start to happen in these two weeks here, just from where we roll through it. So this will give us a good indication on the intensity of the building field. Right now, we are at I'm going to just say a smidgen of the actual intensity, so we can get a real good gauge. Well, what types of earthquakes, what type of volcanic eruptions, where were they? Because if they're centered in one place, when the Earth swings around next year, it's probably going to be centered in the same places again. So you can sort of get the forecast out about a year, because it's generally going to be the same place. Because if you're going to come through the same magnetic field but just amplified, those same energies are going to run through the same Paleozoic currents in the rocks, and it's going to follow the same crustal electrification patterns or crossover ley lines or wherever. It's going to enter the atmosphere in the same areas, magnetic field. But there's going to be a lot of things. What if some dams crack as well? These kind of things. Because that Deagle website that you referenced, I don't know if anybody I had seen that back in like 2015 when I started my Adapt 2030 channel. That Deagle.com website's been around for a long time, since at least 2015, and suddenly they just take it offline in the last 6 months. Now, why is that? It was up live for more than 5 years. And now there's people that are, really taking that information, dissecting it, and showing you where they're breaking it down by the countries out of the entire 207 countries in the world based on that Deagle 25 forecast. Like they're breaking it down into the countries that are going to increase in population, the country's forecast increase in GDP, but then they have it broken down into neutral, where it's almost going to be no movement, where it's going to be like at a zero state, where there'll be no population growth or decline and no increase in GDP or decline in GDP. But then they have the whole rest of those all Western homogeny, Western hemisphere countries. I mean, unbelievable, massive declines. So I'm just wondering, do they already identify these areas with the volcanic eruptions and earthquakes, knowing that during this cycle, something is going to be rifted where if all the bridges across the Mississippi River were to go down in another New Madrid style earthquake, that would explain a lot of the decline in the American destruction and, shrinkage of the GDP. That's a massive GDP shrink from 4.8 trillion to 8.8 or 888 billion. I mean, you're going from 48 trillion to under 1 trillion. That's like a 50 times decline. That's insane. Like when you look at this thing, unless I'm reading that chart wrong and it's 4.8 trillion, but I think it would be closer to 48, the amount of money moving through the stock market, all the, automakers, although they're not, they're going on strike and whatnot, but just all the industry and, transportation and goods and services and things exchanged in the U.S. for a whole year. Yeah, 48 trillion could definitely be that. But that's crazy. Something dropped in 50x. But then you look at other places that are increasing. They all seem to be, I've read that, there seem to be like a modest increase. But the declines are the ones that seem the most staggering. And I do have, a thought on I traveled in Japan, and the Beehive Hotel is kind of what you referenced there. It's a novelty for Westerners to go stay in it. They're never big enough. If you're going to crash it, let's say you got 10 hours before you got to be to a train station. You got all your stuff with you. You got the lockers there. You just want to chill out and sleep for like 4 or 5 hours before you get on your plane or something. Those Beehive hotels are perfect. But if you're going to be living in that thing, not a chance. They're super noisy. People always doing stuff, everybody's watching their devices. Hardly anybody plugs in headphones, and people are moving in and shuffling out and scraping and scratching and zippering. And, it's just like it was living in a youth hostel back in the 90s, traveling through South Africa or something. Youth hostels were awesome, but they were noisy as can be. You got to be, earplugs or a heavy sleeper. Same thing with the Beehive Hotel, but you get very little space. And, at $80 a night, those little things are like $80 a night in Japan. And, it's crazy what they can get in Tokyo for those things. In Chiba also. But let me throw something unusual at you here. Like we're talking about the food supplies. And Ransom, since you had a friend of mine sent me this article, which I never would have found myself. So as I'm looking across, Constantine Christokoulos sent me this one here. Constantine, shout out. Thank you for that. I never would have found it without you here. This one. Kharkova Dam disaster, the impact on Ukrainian crop production. Remember how that dam was blown up and then it cracked and it flooded all the farm fields? Well, they finally have some real numbers here that they're looking at. And the deficit, which will be created, but that also affects the exports coming out of. So basically what it means with the export reductions and the reductions in growing, we're going to really start to feel across the world the reduction coming out of Ukraine's grains. Ukraine was a huge exporter. They used to export 30 million tons a year. And those were the dogs playing. And that was weird because when we were just talking before, my dogs just stood at the door and they started barking like something was out there. So I had to go look with the flashlight. So here we go. They're looking at a minimum 10,000 tons of corn, 100,000 tons of wheat, and 26,000 tons of oil seed. And that will be followed on by another 309,000 hectares, which is, if you got to multiply by 2.4 to actually get the proper amount of acres to hectares. So your conversion is 2.4 for one. So if you say even 300,000 hectares times 2.4, you get 624,000 acres. Like these are the kind of losses that they're looking at. 50,000 hectares, which is 20,000 acres. 30,000 hectares, which is 70,000 acres. It just keeps adding up these little gouges everywhere. And I had also, this is a follow-up to some reports I'd had earlier. This year, the planting, total space, all of it in Ukraine is only 11% of the normal of what it was in, say, like 2016. Way before the war, way before COVID, the amount of arable space that they were able to get in planted, especially now for the winter wheat, because this is the kind of one you want to put in the ground because it gets cooler in Ukraine than, it's chilly in the winter. So they get everything planted right about now. They're looking at 11%. So then you look at the loss of water in the reservoir, that 94% of irrigation systems in Kherson and Zaporizhzhia, and what's that? I can't even pronounce that. Dnipropetrovsk. Excuse me if I mispronounced. That was my best attempt. That's such a beautifully complex language. But 30% there. So you're looking, you got to think about American farm fields too, like the amount of irrigation that we use to provide and grow those crops for everybody. If we were to lose 94% of irrigation across Kansas, Oklahoma, and Nebraska, can you imagine what would happen to our crop production? Well, the same thing happened there. 74% in Kherson, 94% in Kherson, 74% in Zaporizhzhia. I mean, these are major grain growing areas. These are the Lion's basket share of its particular type of grain. And they even mentioned it. Was it corn or was it wheat? And again, they didn't really break it down. Was it winter wheat? Was it hard red winter? Was it durum? Was it white? Was it soft white? They didn't break that down so cleanly on the types of wheat. They just said wheat. For me, I would like to know which type of wheat. But then you'd probably just have to look into the United States Department of Agriculture website, find the maps for crop production, and then pop in on the month and then see what was being sown or harvested right now. And then you could probably get a better idea of that in those three regions. But wherever you look, with this cold front coming in, I am pretty sure there's going to be a lot of destroyed agriculture out here. Like to get into the low or high 20 Fahrenheit range this early in the year is kind of rare. Things have had a chance to like harden off and let the water repel or drip down from the stems or from the leaves. Can you imagine 27-degree temperatures on all the leaves in the forest? Like usually they cool down and they change color because it's slow. The sugars are doing their thing in the plants and the trees. Because it gets cool, it gets in the 50s, and then the high 40s, and it's in the mid 50s, and it's the 60s. It's bouncing around, But you don't normally get 26, 27, 28 degree Fahrenheit. Boom, those just freeze everything, falls straight off. So that's for us in North America here, and I don't know, Ransom. This year looks crazy for the food price because last week, remember, we talked about the Food and Agricultural Organization from the United Nations, the FAO, predicting 100% food price increases over the next 12 months. That's another doubling of food, and that's from the UN, United Nations, FAO, telling everybody across the world, hey, all of you in impoverished nations, I think they were more like directing the message, your food's going to double. So think about what's already been done for destruction of spending power in America alone or in Europe just because of food prices and energy prices. These are slated to double again in the next 12 months. So, I mean, looking out, how do you prepare? And then we got these early freezes coming in. So if you are growing your own veg, you're really going to have to protect it, or you're going to have to go back to the supermarket and start buying stuff because you got completely frozen out. This is the thing, like row cover right now. Even me, I'm just going to say something, Ransom, and I'll let you get back in, is like if you have money and you want to park it into some goods that you think will hold value over the long term that are not taking up a lot of space to store, think row covering. It's thin white. It's almost like sheeny types of drapes, if you will. It prevents the cold from actually going down and killing your plant. So most people use a hoop with it, and they lay it across all the susceptible crops. And also in the springtime, you could use that same row cover to start your plants early and germinate them if you're in a protected area without the wind and the wind chill. So you got the added benefit of 3 weeks early starting of your starters to get them out by using that same row cover in the same hoops, or extending your season way past. Like this freeze, it's going to be like a super freeze for a few days, and whatever's out there is going to get frozen. And then it'll go back to normal temperatures and then just continue the rest of, October into November like we normally do. But the row cover, like, getting excess and extra row cover would be a huge, huge one for me. Because can you imagine what you could trade for that or barter for that in terms of, I need about 50 feet of row cover. Man, we're going to lose our gardener. I need 100 feet. Hey, what would you trade for that? You're going to lose all of your vegetable production, or you're going to trade for 100 feet or 200 feet of row cover. You're losing hundreds, if not, multiple $500 to $1,000 worth of vegetables. Now, what's that row cover worth it to you? So these are the kind of things, crop cover, there's many words for this. So anyway, Ransom, I think that, the extremes are starting to manifest here with these magnetic fields, like these low temperature events and the low pressure systems are going to get unleashed. And they're going to be unleashed and continuing to ravage the planet in the southern part of our world from the Hunga Tonga eruption, all that extra water vapor. So we're getting extremely late let-offs in winter in the southern hemisphere, which is going to delay their planting in the southern hemisphere. and all the UVB radiation affecting the crops down there from that. I was looking at the NASA ozone watch, is what the NASA ozone hole watch. I'll send you the link here, Ransom. But the ozone hole is not an ozone hole anymore. It's an ozone oval. It's the first time they've seen this oval shape. And when I say oval, I'm talking almost like a donut oval, looking at it from the side. Like really, it's a very elliptical looking ozone hole over our southern hemisphere. And then you combine all these early season cold, the crop losses because of wars, crop losses because of not enough energy, processing, fertilizers, etc. I really can see why the UN said that food prices will double over the next 12 months. And I'll leave it there. I'm going to get you some links for the NASA ozone watch.
I think, they're probably telling people that because that is the plan for the next year or so, is to really hurt people around the world. And sadly, millions of people are falling into the trap. Now, I know a lot of people are aware of what's going on the border, but I want you to think about those little tiny homes there. And, you were mentioning the little hotel, the Beehive Hotel thing. And in general, in Japan, everything's small. Like, they've learned to, pack everything up, have a set of belongings for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner, and put everything up and then get ready for sleeping. And they've learned how to, live in a compact space. That being said, these little things that they're talking about have already been used in the U.S. And we had dramatic different outcomes of similar living conditions. Now, part of it's because, the Japanese culture really doesn't deal with crime. People don't really commit that much crime on top of that. That versus the same thing over here where people being raped, robbed, and murdered in the same conditions. Now, given these were places set up for people that didn't have things, and the people in Japan are people that have enough money to at least rent the spaces. So there is a big difference in scenario. But the idea is being pushed off everywhere, including Europe. And it makes you wonder, like, why? At the same time that, I covered the articles about the housing problem and that, people can't afford to buy land. They can't afford to buy a new house. They can't afford to get in a house. They can't afford rent. But at the same time, you look at these articles right here, thousands of migrants are being dropped off on San Diego streets. Now, this is just one of many cities where hundreds of thousands. And then when you start adding up all of them, it is millions. Now, early 2000s, we admitted that there was at least 20 million non-resident illegal occupants in the country. Now, since then, we've admitted year by year that millions have been coming in over the course of a decade and a half at least. So I'm putting that number myself, probably double or a little over double of the amount of people. And then where does this end? If there's problems with the economy, there's problems with not enough jobs there. And this is funny because they tell you that there's so many jobs out there and the economy's great. It's fine economics. But the 24-hour stores where I live can't even stay open because they can't get 2 employees to work. And there are jobs there that some people will not work. And then you're increasing the amount of people, and there's only 2 or 3 jobs available. So, like in a smaller area. So somebody's going to take those jobs, which leaves lots of people without jobs. And then you continually see this wave of stories like this. Here's another one. In rare New York City visit, Texas Governor Greg Abbott lauds Mayor Adams, Governor Hutchell for pursuing Biden over migrant crisis, which is funny because these are the same people that are now complaining that so many people are showing up in their municipality that they cannot deal with it. And so you have articles like this from Yahoo Finance. New York City tells migrants you are better off somewhere else. They don't mind the idea of a bunch of people coming. They just don't want to deal with it or pay for it or have it where they live, which is creating, an issue. And then you can tell that we're going to a place very fast where there would be the conditions for them to tell you there's a reason why there's no food. And I'll get into that right now. Why the Pentagon's killer robots are spurring major concerns, because they're producing a lot of them, because we're about to go to World War. People still are trying to put off. And here's a key one that I think everybody should pay attention to. U.S. will not have any pandas for the first time in 50 years. Now, maybe you don't think that's a big deal, but I see that as a major sign of relations between the United States and China, because, China loves the panda bear. It's an icon. They get upset when pandas are mistreated or have problems in other countries when they loan them out. They consider them a state property or a national treasure for China. So the United States will not have any pandas in any of our zoos for the first time in 50 years. That tells you where things are going. China is investing billions in global disinformation campaigns, according to our government. You can take that with a grain of salt. I don't doubt that at all.
Is that the new salt from Bill Gates I can take that with?
Yeah, probably, so you could be hooked up with their new products. Chinese hackers nab about 60,000 emails in the State Department breach. Now, in my opinion, I think that these are probably secrets that they have already had back from 33,000 missing emails and beyond. But we're going into this technological future now that people are about to have to deal with. They can't ignore it. And this is all part of the population reduction thing. And, I talked a lot about Musk and his chip, but he's also setting up the network for this to be anywhere in the world where people are connected. And I really want to get into this in the second half, is what's called the Internet of Things and how it's going to affect you and your life from here on out. Needing space, terrifying video reveals Elon Musk's huge army of satellites. As scientists warn Starlink's hidden danger, and they're saying that they're going to outnumber the stars in the visible sky. And they're not just talking about Elon Musk, because he's only one crazy billionaire that's putting up a lot of satellites. He's only one of many governments and other NGOs that are also doing the same thing. We're about to go into a terrifying new era of when technology interrupts what your dream that they've been giving out. And I'll get into that when we come back from the break. But needless to say that there is a plan. And like always, they have little acronyms for it. They're leading you in a certain direction. And I'll try to show that when we come back. But meanwhile, on the World War front, I think you're going to see a lot more headlines on this. Now, keep in mind that I don't know the motivation behind the shooter, as Dutch police say that 3 people were killed in shooting at a university hospital in the home of Rotterdam. Now, I don't know the motivation behind this, but I have a feeling that in the near future, from East Europe to West Europe, we're about to see a lot of these kind of little skirmishes setting off, which are going to be used for further proxy wars until we're in an already claimed war. Because if you listen to Russia and China and Biden, we're already at war with China and Russia. So I don't know what your thoughts are on that. But when we get back, I really want to talk about the connection that the Internet of Things and algorithms, learning machines, and AI are about to sweep people off their feet worldwide. And I think it goes right in to the depopulation agenda that's going on.
And please remember, cast your vote Bigfoot for President 2024. Ransom, I also sent you the NASA ozone hole watch for the Antarctic. Take a look at 21st September 2023, and then we can compare it to 21st September 2021 pre-Hunga Tonga eruption, and then see how the ozone is spilling more to the ozone hole. The depletion in the column is spilling more toward the southern part of South America. Usually, it's not as deep into the blue as we would now. And remember, the ozone hole in earnest will not reach its maximum until the end of October or the middle of November. It depends. It straggles on those 2 weeks. And if it does continue in the same direction, that'll be direct ground UVB over the southern part of South America. And you just have to wonder, how this affects the sea life. We talked about the penguins being blinded by the UVB radiation, and the reason they're washing up with no food in their stomachs is the same effects that we're seeing with now UVB showing on the maps that it is over the ground now, that UVB radiation is striking the southern part of South America. Not so much in southern Africa or southern Australia, but the NASA ozone hole watch definitely shows where the amount of Dobson units is, incredibly minimal, going to almost zero. So you have to think, how much further is that going to stretch up, and what kind of effects would there be? Barley's the number one crop affected, but South America, huge producer of grains also, and that would be an effect of the planet's hydrological system and ozone regulation system being bent out of the normal due to the water vapor blasting up 180,000 feet in the atmosphere after the Tonga eruption. So now add that into the quiver of disruption or reductions in yield across the planet. Like, you can almost game this out, forecast it out into, okay, we got losses in Kyrgyzstan, we got losses in Ukraine, we got losses across Central Europe, the United States because of all the droughts. Wheat's going to a 100-year low again this year. Now we need to start subtracting production out of the southern hemisphere. Get out the calculators, because when we come back, how's AI going to grow our food for us? See, this is the thing. If it can't grow the food, there's no need for it. We'll see you in 2 minutes and 2 seconds. Bye for now. Come on back in a second.
You're listening to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com, and we'll be right back after this message.
Are you interested in the paranormal, murder mystery, real natural law,